What's going on, everybody? This is Afro Think Tank, and today I want to talk about reparations, right? And the argument that we're having in America amongst us black folks and reparations, right? And I want to come here as a Pan-African, and I want to clear some things up because there are some people who call themselves Pan-African, and there are some people who call themselves pro-black. And for some reason, some of their positions is that African Americans should stop seeking reparations, or they argue with FBA. And when I say FBA, I'm talking about the non-xenophobic FBA, because not all FBA people who like the term FBA, not all people who like the term ADOS are xenophobic, even though I think those names are absolutely horrible. All right, but I digress. That's my personal opinion, right? Everybody has an opinion, right? But the sentiment of, the non-xenophobic, reasonable FBA and ADOS and Freedmen is that we are owed reparations. It's something that's owed to us. And me as a Pan-African agree that we are owed reparations, right? I agree 100%. And everybody else got paid reparations, and we have not got paid reparations, right? Now, where I think the issue lies is that there are some individuals who kind of go too far in certain rhetoric, right? As a Pan-African, I understand, who's fully aware of the situation that we're in, I fully understand that the white man in America is not going to volunteer. I'm gonna be careful with my words. The white man in America is not going to volunteer reparations. They're not gonna volunteer it. You've never seen a thief, right, take back what they stole, right? In real life, thieves don't give back what they stole. Look at the whole European world. They literally stole our entire culture and all of our artifacts, and they put it in museums all across Europe, and they won't give it back, even though the whole world knows it's ours. They stole us from our empires, from our kingdoms, and they didn't pay them back for that, right? And didn't pay us for all of our free labor. White people are not going to volunteer to pay those reparations. Why won't they do it? Because first, we know they don't admit what they do is wrong. They live in a certain fantasy world at which everything is Eurocentric. Everything, you know what they do to justify the things that they do. With all that being said, reparations is still owed, right? So I believe as a Pan-African, no matter how daunting of a obstacle that is, how daunting of a request that is, we should still continue to ask and fight no matter what, because this is how I see it, right? There was a time when we were enslaved that I'm sure that us African people who were enslaved would say, damn, we ain't never gonna be free. And there were probably some Africans on that same plantation, right, who were like, nah, we're gonna be free one day. We're gonna be free, right? We're gonna get out of here. And then there was some Africans saying, nah, we ain't never gonna be free. It's gonna be like this. You can't expect a white man to free the slaves. They making too much money. There's no way. It's gonna ruin their economy. It's gonna start all sorts of stuff, which it did. It took millions and millions of European lives to die unnecessarily in order to release us from slavery, right? And we also had to die. We fought in that shit too. It ain't like they did it, we did it, right? Right? And matter of fact, if we didn't get in the game, we might not be free. Keep that in mind. We fought for our own freedom. We did it. Because without Africans fighting in that war, them Bama's would have lost. All right? All right? Remember that. All right? We did that. Africans, weapons of mass destruction, gods of war. That's what we are when we in our war mode. Gods of war. All right? Straight up. But there was a time when those Africans didn't know. Some didn't believe that they would be free. And not only did some didn't believe, some actively fought against their own freedom. So when Africans would try to escape, right? When they would try to get out of there, when they try to make a plan, when they try to fight against a man, there were Africans who would snitch on the Africans trying to be free, because they didn't want to have to deal with the downfall. They didn't want to deal with the repercussions, and they also didn't want to deal with the unknown, the change, because people were used to, even though slavery was a barbaric practice, there were some people that was used to it. They settled into it. That's all they knew, right? And you know, African people, we have the highest tolerance. People always say we don't feel pain. It's not that we don't feel pain, it's that we have high tolerance for shit. We can cope. We know how to adapt. That's what we do. If you notice, some people don't know how to adapt to change. We know how to naturally adapt to change. Now that can be perceived by other groups as, damn, y'all don't feel shit, huh? Right? Because of all the shit they did to us, they wondering how we still here. All the shit they did to us, they're wondering how we still here. So they like, y'all must not be able to feel shit, right? But so there were always Africans fighting against the freedom of other Africans because they were afraid of change, afraid to piss Massa off, right? Afraid that Massa was going to scorch earth if we ever dared to try to liberate ourselves. And just like back then, there are people nowadays that say, hey, don't run there. Don't be asking Master for too much now. You lift yourself up for your own bootstraps now. You don't be asking for that money. You don't want no handout. No, this ain't no handout. All right? We gave the white people their entire advanced society. They owe us, right? Now, but here's the problem. Here's the reality of them owing us. If white people were to Europeans, the West, if they were to actually pay back African Americans, right? And keep in mind, I believe that African Americans, Americans who are descendant from those Africans who came here on the transatlantic slave trade, we specifically as a tribe, us, African Americans, we are the ones who should be getting the reparations. No one else should be getting those specific reparations. But if redundant wise, some brothers and sisters from the Caribbean and from the African continent get some of that money, I don't have a problem with it. I'd rather go the route of some of my brothers and sisters from the Caribbean and some of my brothers and sisters from Africa get some of that redundant money than Europeans, Americans, all of a sudden utilizing that African DNA they got in their system. You know that you know how we got that 20%, some of us got almost up to 20% European ancestry in our DNA because of the graping that Europeans did. Well, white people have about that same, on the opposite side, about 20% of African DNA because of their forefathers graping us. So a lot of those white people in America, if given the opportunity, utilizing the definition of lineage, they would in turn be able to apply for those said reparations. And by law, illegality, they would be able to get it. That's the thing. So I'd much rather have my African and Caribbean brothers and sisters get some redundancy because they happen to be black Africans in America than white people getting a benefit once again from the reparations that they owe us simply because their forefathers graped our ancestors. That would be a slap in the face. They would be spitting in our face and laughing at us at the same time. Because remember, there's more white people in this country than there are black people. That means there will probably be more white people who would benefit from reparations if it was a lineage-based, the way it's been interpreted by some people. There will be more white people benefiting from that program than us actual Africans. Disenfranchise us once again. You understand? Now, my problem with, now that's how I would explain it to an FBA or ADOS. Now, this is how I believe we can get reparations. We literally have to take over the government and write our own check, period. We got to write our own check. We need to get in both. We need to infiltrate the Democrat and Republican Party. We need to make politics cool. We need to infiltrate every goddamn state, local, and federal political party we possibly can strategically. Then when we do that, we need to get in position to where we're the ones writing up the legislation to give our own self-reparations. We cut the check ourselves, right? But we have to be responsible about it too. Because this would happen if, hypothetically, they were to cut us the trillions of dollars that we owed. First of all, they ain't got the money. You understand? You go collecting, they ain't got the money. realistically, they can't pay out anything. $2, $3, $4, $5 trillion. Our GDP is not even close to that. We don't even produce that in a year. We don't have that. Honestly, we don't have it, right? And keep in mind, the federal government and all this money that's circulating within the West, that's built off the backs of our ancestors, that money is circulating. It's moving, and it needs to move in order for our economies to work. So if they were to pay us out, that would dramatically destroy the value of the US dollar. Meaning, as soon as they give it to us, it won't even be worth the paper it's written on. So the reparations have to be something responsible. Maybe it has to be broken up in several different economic ways to where, you know, we can benefit effectively. Remember, it was 40 acres and a mule, guys, and we're talking about 40 acres and a mules with inflation, you know, and interest, all the way up from the point that when they neglected the treaty, you know, because, you know, Europeans, every treaty they sign with anybody, they always break, right? They did it with the Indians. Every single one of them they broke, and they broke ours. We didn't get our 40 acres and a mule, right? So we have to understand, and that wasn't a cash payout. That was land, and that was access to a mule, which was basically a business, right? And the ability to farm in a commercial way and feed yourself. So we have to come up with something reasonable that would suffice and that would benefit us in the same way that 40 acres and a mule would benefit us. Right? And we have to do it in a way that doesn't destroy the United States of America, the country that we don't want to give up, because God damn it, we died for it, and we fought and built it, and we are we are real Americans. We are real Americans, and you know we need to take this country over. Since we built it, since we financed it, we need to take this whole shit, right? We need to take Africa and take this whole shit, all of it, take it all back, all of it, and don't feel ashamed about it. Europeans did it. Right? We can do it. Let's do it. Let's do what they did, right? So I think Pan-Africans, they shouldn't discourage or belittle or down FBAs or ADOs or any group of Africans who's solely concerned about reparations. Because as Africans, we're a team. Listen, we're a team, guys. And African Americans, we're our own tribe. I recognize that. And right now, we're looking for our identity. I understand that. That's the argument we have. But look, we as a team, we all got different roles, right? Some Americans, Pan-Africanism doesn't require you to go to Africa. Pan-Africanism just means you working with your fellow black person under the guise that we all black and it all against us. We all black and they all against us. And that's what it is, right? So because of that, we work together. Because of that, we all share a common struggle. We all share a common colonizer, a common oppressor. Because of that, we all share a common origin. We all share a common continent. We all share common countries, common empires. We have a lot of commonalities. Under the guise of that, we work together, even though we all got different roles. Some people are going to solely concentrate on reparations. And it doesn't matter how irritated white people get. It don't matter how irritated POCs get that African Americans are continuously fighting and screaming to the mountaintops that you owe us reparations. Because just like back then, there were people who never thought we would be free, and we end up freeing ourselves. And just like today, people think we'll never get reparations. One day we will. Whether we cut the check, whether we force them to cut the check or not. As a Pan-African, I am thinking about foreign policy on behalf of African Americans, right? You got domestic policy and foreign policy. Like I said, we're a team. Just like a football team, every player has their role to play. And when they all play their role and it all happens simultaneously and smoothly, that's how you win the game. If everybody thinks that their role is the only role and is the most important role, then guess what? You lose the game, because there's no individualism. You can't win a football game being an individual. There's no I in team, you understand, right? So me as a Pan-African, I'm thinking about our foreign policy on behalf of African Americans. Establishing institutions on our motherland so that we can use those institutions, grow those institutions big enough so that they can have the financial capability to empower our people here in America. So we can have intellectual properties and be in industries that we are washed out of in America. So that we can grow and have multitudes of African-American millionaires and billionaires because they're empowered by the industries that we control on our own land, unabated by Europeans who seek to destroy it. Every time we build in this country, they destroy it. So We can't just think domestically, because as long as the European are still in control and they still own the institutions that we utilize, they will always destroy our institutions that we build, which is history has been the proof. We don't have to speculate. We know what Europeans do when African Americans pull themselves up from their bootstraps. They burn it down. But in Africa, they ain't gonna be able to burn it down no more, right? So we'll have a safe place, a base for us black people. And we'll have a backup from our brothers and sisters who also would like to use us to partner with them so they can pull themselves out from the economic situation they find themselves in. Mutual beneficial relationship. No one's asking African Americans to stop being African Americans. I am an African American who is a royal Yoruba chief. My royal Yoruba chief title does not take away my African American identity, and it doesn't take me away from my tribe. I'm a dual citizen. You understand? I'm a dual citizen, right? I'm an African American because my country's Africa America. Not America, Africa America. That's my own country. That's where I'm from. I'm from Africa America. All right? And I'm also a dual citizen of the Yoruba land. All right? That's who I am. Right? And I'm gonna be and if I want another damn African country that I'm connected to, I'm gonna get that too. Right? And for my FBA guys, don't be mistaken. African people, despite I know I know there's some bad apples over there, some uneducated continental Africans that talk shit about African Americans. Just like we know there are some uneducated African Americans who talk shit about Africans. We know that's what people do. But the overall sentiment, Africans love us. They know who we are. They're our brothers and sisters, and they support us in what we do. That's just a fact. That's not an opinion. That's a fact. And me as a Pan-African, I support 100% the relentless pursuit of reparations. Period. Never stop. Ever. You never let them get comfortable. Them Europeans, the Western world have been way too comfortable utilizing us, making themselves rich. And they're still doing it now. Look at everything. Everything requires a little bit of blackness in it in order to make money. Everything requires a little bit of coolness to make money. They can't sell toothpaste without putting an 808 beat on it. Huh? They got to validate their coolness and their acceptance in popular culture. They got to add something black to it. The beauty standard is black still, while belittling our blackness, while they try to steal it for themselves and make it the standard and tell us it's their standard. So as a real Pan-African, right? No Pan-African should be shunning or shaming anybody if their goal is reparations, because that's their mission. That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna fight. They're gonna give it 100%. Period. And I support that 100%. I don't care what you call yourself. Reparations, I'm behind it. I back it. And Pan-Africans are the ones who started the fight for reparations. Reparations is literally a platform of Pan-Africanism. So if there's somebody who's shaming anybody for fighting for reparations, clearly they're not working for us. They're not on our side. They're on somebody else's side. They have a different agenda, right? But Pan-Africans, pro-black people in America, we're all on the same team, and we all support each other in our endeavors. And we gotta figure out a better way to communicate with each other, so that we can articulate what it is our roles is as we rise as black people on this planet. We don't need to fight each other. Pan-Africans really don't need to fight FBA and ADOS and all that. I'm not different from you. I'm an African American just like you. I may not like the names, that's okay, right? But our mission is the same. Get what's owed to us and rise as a group of people. That's it. Okay? So as a Pan-African, I'm saying officially there should be not one real Pan-African is gonna shame anybody for fighting for reparations. It's owed to us. Period. And we gonna get it. One way or another. Period. And that's for them other ones that's watching. We're going to get it. Whether you believe it or not, we're going to get it. Bob, all right? So, yeah, that's all I really want to say, all right? So, as a Pan-African, I'm putting out these leads, right, to the reasonable FBA and ADOS guys who only gripe with Pan-Africans is that there are some Pan-Africans who offend them because they try to shame them for wanting reparations. Shame them for wanting something that is owed to us. Okay? And my FBA and my freedmen, you need to understand and comprehend at a higher level and understand Africans are not trying to take anything from you. But if they get some of the action, I'd rather my brothers get some of the runoff than all those white people get the run. Because guaranteed, as soon as they do that reparations, them white folks gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm black. They already say they Native American. They did it to the Native Americans. When they made treaties and said, if you're a Native American, and they had those rolls and all that shit, all of a sudden, all those white people who got a history of raping Native Americans, right? Guess what? All of a sudden, their offspring's like, yeah, we Native Americans. And they make all the goddamn money. All the prominent Native Americans, I guarantee if they do their DNA, 80% of that shit be, say, Europe. 80%. You got these podunk Eastern European looking folks swayed up and down they Native American. Disrespecting the whole group of people. That's why I got such a problem with us black people doing it. Because it's shameful. All right? So anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm a Pan-African. I'm for reparations. Let's fight for reparations. We owe that shit. Let's do everything we can in every way we can, in every industry we can, internationally and domestically, to get what's owed to us and rise to the top. Anyway, that's all I got to say. It's Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach something. I'm out.